I want to launch a new series where I take your mystery ancestors and break down the world they lived in. I'm hoping for each episode of this series, I'll pick maybe like 2 or 3 to kind of break down what was happening historically during your lifetime. Now, maybe only 2 or 3 of you are going to be interested. So
There's only two of us now.
this will just be a one and done. I have a feeling though, there's going to be a lot more submissions than 2 or 3. I hope there will be. I was seriously getting ready to close down YouTube. If you saw my video I put out a couple days ago on Sunday, you know, I've been struggling with whether or not I should keep making these videos for a whole host of reasons. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link to it. But I've been feeling burned out and exhausted and feeling like I'm pouring all this effort into these videos and coming against a lot of problems. But then something happened. I read every single one of the comments on that video. I haven't responded to any. I wouldn't let myself respond yet. I wanted to think. Right now I think there's almost 1,000 comments on there. And you completely changed my perspective. And you gave me a really good idea. You reminded me why I started this channel. Why I love family history, why I love American history, why I love storytelling. And you made me realize something really important. One of the biggest things I saw in the comments was how many of you have been trying to research your own family story, and how many of you are saying, you know, my videos have helped you understand a lot more about your family. So reading through your comments, just saying you've hit a dead end or you don't understand why you can't find a certain ancestor. So you've been searching, you've been digging through records, piecing together names, you hit a brick wall. I know how many of you have hit those brick walls with your family, and I know how it feels because I feel surrounded by brick walls sometimes in my family story. I want to launch a new series where I take your mystery ancestors and break down the world they lived in. I'm not going to be finding the records or doing family tree work. I think you would really want to hire genealogists for that. I think genealogists are an incredible investment. But what I do want to do is dive into the historical forces that might explain why your ancestor is a mystery to you today. Maybe your ancestor vanished after the 1870 census. Maybe that's because of the post-Reconstruction laws here in the US. If your family was labeled as mulatto in Virginia in 1806, well, that's a whole story why you might not be able to trace your family. Maybe their name was spelled 5 different ways across 5 different documents, thanks to immigration officers, census records, and racial classification. This series, I hope, is going to be about your ancestors and the hidden forces of history that shaped their story, the laws, the migrations, the racial classifications, the economic shifts, all of it. Because sometimes the reason they're missing from records is it's not really a lack of documents, it's because something bigger was at play. And so here's where you come in. I want to hear about your mystery ancestor. I literally had goosebumps when I had this idea. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta sit down and record. I'm actually in like pajama pants right now because I was like, I cannot wait 1 second. I'm so excited about this. So let me explain a little bit more here. I created a private anonymous Google form for you so you can submit your ancestors' details. And I'll leave a link to that below, so make sure you do that. But basically what you're going to give me is their name and where they lived in America. And for now, I just want to focus on that because I feel so comfortable with American history. Maybe we'll expand as if this gains any traction. The approximate time period where they were born, where they died, what makes them a mystery. Why is this kind of like your brick wall ancestor where you're just like, I don't know where did this person go, or I don't understand anything about the lack of information I have on them, all of that, and maybe any extra family stories that you've heard. Now, you don't need to submit records to me or anything like that. Just give me that information. And I'm hoping for each episode of this series, I'll pick maybe like 2 or 3 to kind of break down what was happening historically during your lifetime. Now, maybe only 2 or 3 of you are going to be interested, so this will just be a one and done. I have a feeling, though, there's going to be a lot more submissions than 2 or 3. I hope there will be. So let me give you an example of how this would work. So you would submit on the form that your great-great-grandfather, John Smith, was in Georgia in the 1850s, but you can't find any records of him after 1860. Well, what happened in Georgia in the 1860s? The Civil War. Many men were drafted, right, into the Confederate forces. So if John had been enslaved, freed, or even part of a mixed race community, his legal identity could have changed overnight there. And then also after the war, the Freedmen's Bureau created labor contracts, and names were often misspelled or changed completely. Maybe if John was considered or censused as white, but he was poor, he might have been pushed into tenant farming or fled west looking for new opportunities. Or maybe his name just got rewritten by a census taker who didn't care about accuracy. This is the kind of historical context I want to uncover in this series. And I've never done a series quite like this before, but I already know this is going to be one of my favorites because history isn't just about kings and wars, it's about real people. It's about your ancestors and my ancestors. And I think sometimes the best way to understand history is to look at it through the lens of the people who lived it. I am so excited to dive into your stories, maybe break down some mysteries, and hopefully help you understand your ancestors in a new way and share it with the rest of us. So, this is what you'd be thinking about. Who is your mystery ancestor? And maybe you have a bunch, but just submit one form of one person. What's the family story you've been trying to figure out? And we'll uncover some history together. And I don't want you to miss these videos when they come out. So make sure you're subscribed. You click the little stupid notification bell. Supposedly that helps. I don't know. I don't know. I can't wait to hear your stories. And thank you again for everybody who just, I feel like I really truly felt you rallying around me this week, and the comments, the love, people joining Patreon, buying t-shirts, sending me coffee, sending me emails. It really impacted me, and it helped me to refocus on what a beautiful community this is here, and how many of us, we are so different. We come from so many different backgrounds and maybe different religions. We speak different languages at home. We eat different foods. We look different, but at the end of the day, we are united by this truth that we need to know where we come from to know where we're going. And I just I feel just such a refreshment and a joy about this. So again, maybe there's going to be just like 3 of us doing this. If that's the case, that's okay too. But I would love to have you submit, and don't feel like you have to fit certain criteria to do it. Maybe your ancestors immigrated in the 1960s from Eastern Europe, maybe more like the 1980s. But tell me who that ancestor is. Maybe your family has been here for hundreds of years and they came over from Great Britain. Tell me that. I want everything. I want to cover all of it. And so I'm just so blessed to have you. I'm so excited, and I really hope that this is the thing that we need during this season, because I can just feel like, not to get spooky, I'll do this at the end of the video so just people hang with me at the end, but not to get spooky, but I mean, I truly feel like sometimes we're in a battle of good and evil right now, and I know that this is not the time to put my candle under the basket, so to speak. So let's keep going. Let's do this together. Let's dig into our family trees. Let's tell these stories. Let's shed a light on how we got here. And let's do it together. And if you'd like to join me over at Patreon, I'd love to have you there. I'm actually planning to post this information to them ahead of time because they are my Patreons. So make sure you join over there so you kind of know what's going on a little sooner. Otherwise, I cannot wait to connect with you. Make sure that you go to the Google form below. I'll leave it in the comments, the video description, and I'll be posting it on Patreon. I'll put it in community posts, so hopefully you'll find it, and we'll talk soon.